Hey, so it's 5:30 a.m. I had started a YouTube channel, oh my god, 3 years ago. Never took off because I did one video. I found out I was pregnant the week I started the video out in California. Conceived in New York, Buffalo. Was going to be a digital nomad, travel the world. I paid this company a down payment to 12 countries in 12 months. Fast forward to the in-between stage of me leaving and me having to move out of Buffalo, my apartment in Buffalo. I was staying with a friend in California and was gonna move to California eventually, and I was trying to find home base. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. So that was a little bit of background. Found out I was pregnant in California. That kind of changed my whole world. I didn't end up traveling. I found out I was pregnant, told my grandma a month later that I was pregnant. Went to visit her back in Pennsylvania. She ended up passing away. There's more details on that. So I ended up staying in Pennsylvania, long story short. The reason I'm getting on today is because my baby is going to be 18 months old. For the past year and a half, I have been trying to figure out why I am so stuck, sad, upset, settling. I thrived in Buffalo. Year 2021 into 2022, that was my year. 2021 was definitely my year. I was happy. I was making changes. I was at my healthiest. It was amazing. And ever since getting pregnant, giving birth, really ever since giving birth, I kind of lost me. I had lost me several times in my adulthood. Boyfriends, bad, shitty boyfriends. And now I lost myself again after giving birth to a baby. It's supposed to be the happiest time, the most joyous time. My birth story, which I will go into another time, it was not happy. It was that feeling when that baby was put on my chest. I felt nothing. I felt anger. And not at the baby. It was at the hospital staff. It was, again, another time. So I'm sitting here this morning trying to figure out why I'm stuck, why I stopped doing content, why? And I realized the clutter in my house, and I don't have a space for me. I co-sleep with my child, even though I'm technically in a 2-bedroom. It's really a 1-bedroom. The bedrooms connect, and I'm always fearful of waking him. And often he does wake if he hears me talking. I'm like, it's 5:30 a.m. I'm praying he doesn't hear me down here. But there's no my space. The cats have a freaking space. But even the cat space is merged in the living room space, which I hate, by the way. When I was in Buffalo, I had 2 separate rooms, and the cats had their own room, and the litter box was out of mind, out of sight. So, just space. Just space. You need to have your space. You need to have a space that is yours. Wayne Dyer always mentions, controlling your mind, and, it's always internal. It's never external. I don't believe that. That man was wise. And even though I agreed with most of his things, I don't agree with all of it. And I had a client. I cleaned for a little bit. I had quit a social work job full-time. I had given birth. Was working full-time as a social worker, and then finishing up grad school for clinical mental health counseling. it got to be way too much with the baby. I'm a single parent, by the way, and it was just too much. So I ended up leaving the social work job and doing this cleaning gig. And I had a new client, a male client, who was being a stay-at-home dad while his wife, she took off 3 months of work. She went back to work, and then he was taking his leave. They both worked for good companies. And I remember walking to his house, and it was just luggage, just stuff in the middle of the floor. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, oh, don't touch that. Don't mind that. We just got back from Disney. Mind you, his wife just had a set of twins. I think at this point they were 4 or 5 months old. So his wife just had a set of twins. And they had 2 toddlers before the twins. So they already had 2 girls, maybe a year or 2 apart. And then they had twin girls. So they took 2 toddlers, 2 newborns, and themselves to Disney for Christmas. And I just remember being like, how is that? Like, to me, that sounds awful. Awful. And you know what he said? And it really stuck to me. He goes, I'd rather be miserable at Disney World than miserable in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where it's freezing, cold, snow, and ice. Environment does things. He said, and you know what? It wasn't that miserable. We got back here, and it became miserable again. Those of you who have never been in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for the winter, not as bad as Buffalo, I will tell you that. However, it's it takes a toll on you. Environment can shape you, mold you, have an effect on you. So, I want to reach out to the parents, the moms, the dads, anyone who's caring for a child. How do you keep a space for you, especially if you're in a small space? I'm in like a townhouse type of thing, but it's like really a duplex, but set up like a townhouse. And even though I have space, the space is not spacious enough to have a separate space, if that makes sense. I don't know. These are my morning thoughts at 5:30 a.m. on a Tuesday as I struggle to get back to me, get back to my happy, get back to my Buffalo. Happy Tuesday. Keep moving forward.